Hello, folks. Hello, folks. Shin Tiger Curl here, that dude in the sand straw hat. Now, this is not a review video for professional wrestling or a Yu-Gi-Oh video, but rather this is a sort of a response video to something I saw while checking my Facebook. Now, as a lot of you know, I don't really post videos to be for political reasons or to jump on political bandwagons, but I felt this was necessary that I say something about this while it's on my mind. Now, as many of you know, Ben Stein, as in the teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the guy from those Visine commercials, and the guy from To Win Ben Stein's Money, that guy, went on Fox News and stated that he believes that President Barack Obama is the most racist president that we have ever had. His quotes: "The President of the United States is the most racist president there has ever been. He has purposely used race to try to divide Americans." What the White House is trying to do is rationalize all politics and they're especially trying to tell African American voters that the GOP is against them, letting them have a chance at a good life in this economy, and that is a complete lie. And he says another bunch of bullshit that I'm not going to repeat. Now, what I have a problem with is the fact that he has the all-important audacity and gall to say that President Barack Obama is the most racist president we have ever had. And I'm going to even go beyond the fact that some people have called Barack Obama the worst president that we have ever had. Is he the best president we've ever had? No, not by a long shot. But is he the worst president we ever had? Hell no. You see, unlike a lot of people, I'm a student of history. I like looking up historical little bits and pieces of information. More particularly, I research a lot and read a lot of articles about the presidents. I've been doing it since I was a young boy. I've been able to accurately pick who will become president of the United States since the early 80s. I picked Bush Sr., I picked Clinton, I picked George W. Bush, and I picked Obama. Mostly because when you run for president, or when you want to become president, you have to exude a type of aura, an aura that will be reflected in history. I don't know how you can explain it. I don't know how I can explain it more. I don't know how much more I can explain it, but that's how I see it. If you don't have this aura, then you will not touch the White House. I saw it during the last presidential campaign against Mr. Mitt Romney. He didn't have it. So, anyway, to his comment about Barack Obama being the most racist president that we've ever had, it is clear to me that Mr. Stein, despite his vaunted intelligence and skills as an economist, is dumb as fuck in this regard. Why? Because there are a ton more racist presidents than Barack Obama. If anything, Barack Obama is the most restrained president that we have ever had because of all the bullshit that's been thrown at him by the Republican Party and Fox News. You want me to name some more racist presidents than him? Fine. George Washington. That's right, the father of our nation. He owned slaves. That's right. And during the American Revolutionary War, when it was suggested that the Revolutionary Army could be bolstered by free slaves, by free men and slaves to fight for the cause of freedom for this great country, he declined because he felt that the United States Army wasn't in such bad straits that they needed help from black people. So yeah, the only president to ever be unanimously elected into office twice in a row did not think that black people were needed in a war for freedom. Yeah. A lot of the presidents before Lincoln had slaves. Not all of them. The Adamses, John Quincy and his father John Adams, did not own slaves. In fact, John Quincy Adams was a fervent abolitionist. While his presidency he was not known for his presidency, which was forgettable at most. He was more known for the work he did after his presidency, where he was a staunch abolitionist. He did everything in his power to do for black people what the white people couldn't do for them. But if you want the most racist president, okay, I actually had to look this up. I looked this up just to confirm something, to confirm the opinions that I had. I looked up, I binged who were the most racist presidents in U.S. history. I got a lot of results. Not surprisingly, Andrew Jackson. Yes, old Hickory, the hero of the Battle of New Orleans. He was horrifyingly racist towards Indians. That's right. He had them. During the Red Stick Rebellion, he fought with several Seminole Indians and promised them, "Hey, if you fight with us, your lands will be safe." But after he finished the war, not only did he take the lands belonging to the Red Stick Indians, but he also took the lands of the Indians who fought with him, completely reneging back his deal to help the Indians. Not to mention the whole Trail of Tears fiasco that killed thousands of Native Americans. He had an irrational hatred of them, so much so that he just kicked them out of their lands because he hated Indians. Yeah. But if you had to go, the number one person that everyone agreed was the most racist president was Andrew Johnson, not Jackson, Johnson. If you did your homework, Andrew Johnson was the vice president under Abraham Lincoln. After Lincoln was assassinated by some crazy redneck actor who thought he was being a hero, but instead was being a total jackass, Johnson came to power and pretty much did everything in his effort to undo everything that Lincoln purported to do, that he wanted to do for black people. Lincoln wanted African Americans, freed African Americans to own land. He wanted them to be masters of their own destiny. He wanted them to vote. He wanted them to have all the advantages that white people had. Johnson undid all of that shit. He kept legislation. Hold on. I got it right here. I'm looking at it right now. Hold on. Where is it? Andrew Johnson. He was full of racist ideals. He had owned 8 slaves before the Civil War. He was in favor of colonization of the blacks. He wanted to annex Cuba for black slave labor. According to the Cincinnati Enquirer, Johnson wrote to Governor Thomas C. Fletcher of Missouri, and I quote, "This country is for white men, and by God, as long as I am president, it shall be a government of white men, for white men." This was the attitude that he had when he was president. He was just, according to Illinois Congressman Elder B. Washbone in 1865, he says, and I quote, "I have grounds to fear President Johnson may hold almost unconquerable prejudices against the African American race." End quote. Johnson also, I'm looking at the article, Johnson believed that blacks were inferior to whites and should not have been included in the Declaration of Independence, would exclude them from citizenship. He also believed that the Constitution left the issue of voting qualifications to individual states, not in the hands of the federal government. This would leave the southern states total authority on whether or not to grant blacks the right to vote, meaning he knew that the southern half of the United States was horrifically racist towards black people. By supporting this issue, this would effectively mean that the southern states could say that black people had no rights to vote whatsoever. Now continue. In an annual message to Congress in December of 1867, he remarked that blacks have quote, shown less capacity for government than any other race of people. No independent government of any form has been successful in their hands. On the contrary, when they've been left to only their own devices, they have been shown a consistent tendency to relapse towards barbarism. So, yeah, I'm continuing. Almost immediately after taking office, Johnson began granting pardons to ex-Confederates. By doing so, he restored confiscated and abandoned lands to the former rebellious owners. Even though he despised the aristocracy, he did this once he realized that the Freedmen's Bureau, a bureau to aid freed slaves in owning of lands, would give the confiscated lands to free slaves. This is he's the primary reason why black people never received our 40 acres and a mule. Johnson also vetoed the Freedmen's Bureau bill designed to allocate land for the freedmen, provided schools for their children, and increased the Bureau's legal power by setting up military courts in the southern states to protect freedmen's rights. Johnson said he vetoed it because it favored one class of citizens over another, which meant he felt it would do more for blacks than whites. Johnson also vetoed the Civil Rights Bill, which was designed to protect blacks against black codes and terrorist groups like the Ku Klux Klan. He vetoed the bill unconstitutional. He vetoed declaring it unconstitutional, and this led to him being the first president to be impeached in the history of the United States. So yeah. So Ben Stein, you're saying that Barack Obama, the first African American president, who tried to do everything in his power, who created a program where everyone can afford health care, who has tried to defuse situations of racial tension within the United States, is the most racist president in the history of our nation, completely negating Andrew Jackson, a man who has gone on record stating that not only were blacks inferior and subhuman to white people, but who did everything in his power during his presidency to keep black people down, who made it okay for a Ku Klux Klansman to lynch black people for no reason, who set back black advancement for another 100 or so years until the civil rights movement in the 60s. You're saying that Barack Obama is worse than this guy. Now, I'm not doing this because Barack Obama is black or happens to be black. I'm not doing this because I'm a Democrat or a Republican. I'm neither. I just vote for whoever I happen to like at the time. I like Barack Obama. He's at least trying. When he came to office, he inherited a piece of shit car that was on its last legs, and he's been trying to fix it up ever since on a minimum wage budget. He's done a lot of good, but it doesn't explain why the Republicans feel the need to cock-block him at every instance. Barack Obama doesn't need to paint the GOP as racist. They're doing that very fine on their own. Yeah, they've pretty much everything he has tried to do for all the races, they've blocked him for no other reason than he happens to be black. It's just them bitter about them losing to him in 2008. This is all I see. I just see the GOP as being extremely bitter, and they'll just say, hey, we lost the election. Let's cock block him. Let's try. He wants to do all this stuff that will benefit all races. No, because we are the GOP, and we are bitter. So for this guy, Ben Stein, who I completely forgot even was still alive, to come out and say some bullshit like that makes me question his intelligence. But then again, he said it on Fox News. There'd be no way he'd be able to get this out. He'd be able to say some bullshit like this on CNN or any other accredited news network. Or hell, he'd never be able to do it on The Daily Show without Jon Stewart vehemently getting in his ass. Jon Stewart will get into anyone's ass. He's gotten into President Barack Obama's ass many a number of times. But for Ben Stein to come on camera and say some utterly untrue bullshit like that and people actually buying it breaks my heart a little. And it's a wonder why nobody likes the Republicans anymore. Ben Stein, the Republicans don't need Barack Obama's help to show people that they're racist. They're doing it quite fine on their own. They're a bunch of old, out-of-touch fuckers who wouldn't know anything about the black culture if it came up and bit them on the ass, other than the fact that they're gangsters and shit like that. I had a lot of respect for Ben Stein, but now I don't, because of this shit. If it's more than anything, it's ignorance. I hate ignorance. And he showed a lot of ignorance by saying this completely untrue bullshit about an okay president who I think history will redeem somewhere along the line as being a good president. I mean, he has taken a lot of shit from the Republicans, from Fox News, and racists from all over the country. He's trying his best, and they're just shitting on him for doing it. So, I gotta give it up to Barack Obama and Michelle Obama too. They have withstand a lot of stuff and a lot of crazy shit that people have said about them, and they just grin and bear it. But I will say this. While a few years ago, Donald Trump kept getting on Barack Obama, claiming he's not a citizen, that he's not a natural-born citizen, that he needed his birth certificate. They wanted to keep getting him his birth certificate all the way. He hounded him for weeks and months about getting his birth certificate. You know what Barack Obama was doing? He was killing Osama bin Laden, the architect of the worst terrorist attack in the history of this country. He was organizing it. He was organizing the raid to get this son of a bitch after over 10 years. He organized to get him. So while Fox News and the Republicans and Donald Trump were being petty and doing all this bullshit, Barack Obama was doing his job. So yeah, what the fuck have you done, Ben Stein, that warrants you to say this shit against Barack Obama? What office have you run for? When have you ever run for president? Well, that's all I have to say. If you like what you see, like, comment below, share this video. People need to understand that you can't keep saying this shit about the president and expect people to buy it. People will, and people have minds of their own. They can and will research this shit and find holes. Because if it's one thing I've learned about dealing with Fox News and Republicans, they can't handle facts. You present facts to them and they shrivel up like a vampire in the sun. A good vampire in the sun, not a Twilight vamp. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps. Until the next time, this is Shin Tiger Curl, that dude in the straw hat, saying goodbye and read between the lines.